I see on a lot of beginning musician forums, like, oh, how do I get this endorsement deal? Because it sounds so glamorous. Like, I got signed, I got this endorsement deal. And it's like, no, I mean, you shouldn't try to like reach out to companies to get like free shit. It's, there's no other way a lot of people approach these companies and they see it a mile away what you're trying to do. So it's just like, actually, have you been using their products for years, and are you interested in like the technology and building the relationships? You worked professionally building loops, working with people. What can you say about corporate or just professional
Well,
relationships with artists?
I mean, you touched on something I'd love to talk about because one of my mentors, another one of my mentors, he says something all the time, and every person that meets him, every artist especially that meets him, he will repeat this and reminds the artist that because artists devalue themselves. We have a very problem. The way the music industry is kind of shaped for us in a lot of ways. There's a lot of devaluing going on, and part of that is saying that I'm looking for an endorsement. I want to be endorsed by Yamaha. No, you don't. You want to endorse Yamaha. You're an artist with value, and you will help their brand. You want to endorse Yamaha, not Yamaha endorsing you. That's what an endorsement is. It's your creativity and using their corporate product, you know what I mean? And you helping them to promote that product in any shape or form. So yes, it is something that I think earn. You know what I mean? I think it's like something you kind of build a relationship and ultimately earn. For example, our Robot Nature, we Robot Nature, and even more exclusively, Deepak endorses Roland.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely one of the bigger ones that we focus on, and Deepak uses a lot of their products. And we're even supposed to play at the NAMM stage and all this stuff
Mm.
with them. But anyways, so it's like I like to continue that expression of the artist endorses the corporation, and yes, artist needs those relationships or these relationships, because at the end of the day, you want to make as much collaborations as possible. And I think corporations like a Yamaha or like a Roland, they are seeking the next us. You know what I mean? They're constantly seeking artists that are using their products and gear and
Yeah.
are enjoying it and are creatively enjoying it and using them. So anyways, yeah, I wanted to throw that in there. But then, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a definitely a promoter, I guess, if you will, of trying to build those kinds of relationships with corporations and products and unique ones too. Mom and pop brands too, all the above.
Mm.
There's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah.
I mentioned NAMM. NAMM is a great opportunity for
Oh,
artists
yeah.
to engage with so many different music works, everything really, but corporations and products, and you should, if you get the chance, take advantage, go for it. So
Mm. Yeah, thank you for those additional insights, because I really loved how you talked about how your mentor and manager was just saying that artists have this tendency to devalue themselves. And we actually talked about it in a previous session with Laura Valle, the singer,
mhm.
because she also does her own ventures in singing and songwriting and doing gigs. And we were just talking about, okay, when you do gigs, yeah, there's certain kind of promotional materials you set aside that can be free because you're giving them to like important industry people. I totally get that. But at gigs, like, don't be shy in terms of selling your CD, selling merch, purchasing download cards, even though it's like such a streaming world nowadays. But it's like, yeah, she was talking about it. It's like you have to, especially if you hired a roadie or extra musicians, you got to pay those musicians somehow,
Totally.
unless you have additional personal resources. But and it's also sending a message to people like you are supporting artists and art. And yeah, so who cares if they don't put CD players in cars anymore? You're buying the art. You're
Right.
and I was just telling her, like, yeah, I mean, if you're at a gig and you see people spending $50 on booze and drinks and whatever else. They can spend $10 to buy your album, so it shouldn't.
And give
um
it away. Yeah.
yeah. And speaking of that previous session I had with her, because she's also a vocal coach, she's taught hundreds of students, because she's been teaching for like internationally for like 20 years or
Totally.
something. And something that happens often is that parents would come in with their student, and I'm sure as a piano teacher you've had this maybe a few times. They come in and the parents always like, do they have talent? If they don't have talent, I want to find out within a month if they have talent. If they don't, I don't want to spend any more money on lessons. So, Richard, how, in your experience professionally or as a teacher or as your own creative person, how do you define talent?
Well, I'm a believer that everyone has talent. I know that's, everyone has different levels maybe of talent, or maybe there's different extremities that are captured early on versus build and develop, with hard work. But I really believe that everyone who is willing has talent. I have taught
Willing.
as young as 2 and as old as 85. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, you have talent, you have ability. I believe in it. And I think talent's a funny word in a way, because what it really, I already made a blank statement, everyone has talent. Everyone has it. We're just human beings, floating in this crazy world that for all we know, we're just programs, or in the dream state constantly. I don't know. But I mean, but the bottom line is that, I think that everyone has value. Everyone has an inner sort of ability. And if you're willing to find it, search for it, work for it, you know what I mean? Work at it, then you perhaps will even surprise yourself. From my own self point of view, I remember, like I mentioned before, I often strive to be like really, as good as I could be in a way. But it really was until I was about, I think, 13, 14, or even 15 years old that I felt like I hit like this pivotal moment, this click moment of things started to like I had a couple of friends that I grew up with, and they said, "Man, Rich, you got like really good." And I like, "Oh, thanks. I'm glad you said that. I really appreciate the kind words." And I don't want to sound like I'm boasting here. I worked hard for it. I really did. I mean, I really, devoted time in for it. And I am still and was very passionate about it. So sure, it's going to build, and everyone can find that. That's talent. Talent is finding what you love, finding what you're passionate about. And not everyone does find that. Some people get stuck in a endless loop of like, I don't know, life boredom, or I don't want to go as far to say depression in a way, but like if you believe what I'm saying, then it's basically believing in yourself. Everyone has what I guess this word talent, you know what I mean? It's all it really is to me is finding one's inner passion, I guess, if I could put a sort of a definition on it. And that's, I don't know if that helps define it, but that's like what talent is to me. It's finding passion. It's finding, that's what speaks to people. Like, they see that you care, chances are they're going to care that you care, And so it's not about how good you are, how fast you can move, or how high a level you can play, even classically, Rachmaninoff, and so on. It's not even about that. It's about how you express what you are playing, and that you can express the simplest of forms of music in a very passionate way, and people will be like, "Wow, I never heard it that way. Thank you," So
Beautifully put. No, that was great. I love that. Oh my goodness. And speaking of talent, you yourself are managing another artist. Segue into that. So if you don't mind talking a little bit about that, and how, because I looked at that person's Instagram. I was trying to like find some singing or playing samples. I couldn't find any. So if you can like let us know about this next act, how you evaluated this person's talent, please.
Sure. Well, I was very, very blessed to meet this young female. And she comes from a background in acting. She was a star of a television show on Nickelodeon called Make It Pop. Her name's Erica Tam. And she blew me away. I was introduced to her as a piano teacher. And she told me, I always ask my students on the very first day, what are some of your goals? What do you want to do with this? If you have, if you do have them. And for her, it was, I want to be able to accompany myself. I want to be an artist now. A lot of the roles that I played on television, they were artist-based roles. I was literally, I don't want to use the word faking, but I was faking as a pop artist. I was popular on the show. I was a pop artist on the show. But in real life, I actually want to be a pop artist. So I was like,
she plays piano and approached you as a piano teacher?
She played piano. She played piano
okay.
by ear. She had already figured things out. She'd never taken lessons before.
Okay.
I want to take a couple roads with you. At the time I said I want a little bit of this road. We're not going to go down the road of learning how to read music, and only because she was a little bit older when I met her. She was already in her upper teenage years, and I knew what she was trying to do. That's what's important to me from a student standpoint, or teacher-student standpoint or relationship. It's important to embrace what the student wants. So for her, I understood what she wanted, and I wanted to embrace that. And it goes back to music theory and talent. Not talent, music theory and the language, and being able to use that and realize what you like. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times what that music theory will introduce is it'll influence you and make you realize what you actually enjoy putting together. And for her case, it was actually, I don't want to drop too much of an educational bomb, but for her case, it was actually when she discovered harmonic minor, that was just a mind-opening thing for her. She started writing music with a little bit of that tone and that part of the music theory. And I'm so glad, because that was our goals. But I met her and I said to her right off the bat, I said, wow, I'm talking to a pop star right now. I'm talking to a future, big star right now. And I reminded her of that every time I saw her. And I expressed to her I really did want to get involved with her career if she let me. You know what I mean? I wanted to introduce her to my manager, who I trusted and put faith into a career or an artist's career. And I wanted her to understand why it's why it could be important to even utilize maybe our relationship if you're willing, because she has connections. She comes from, TV background and everything like that. She could have probably built some things and gone different directions. But I knew that if she let ultimately my partner, Cindy, in this project especially, I knew that she let us, sort of into her life from a professional standpoint. I felt like we could really pave the way and open up a lot of doors for her. And that's what we're doing. And it's been really incredible. I mean, I would say, watch out for Erica Tam. She's going to be a name you recognize, and if not already because of some of her background, but like I think she wants to be recognized for music and her musical talent and ability. Or let me restate that, her musical passion. And that is, I want to help her get there. I really, really do, and I'm glad to be working with her. It's really an amazing journey. We're working with some really top guys. I won't mention names necessarily, but but there's producers, songwriters, working with some really, really well established, already kind of had hits in their own rights, and they love her. And one thing I will say this about her specifically, even though this is the first artist I've actually taken on as a managerial role. One thing I can say is that in the industry, you get a lot of no's. No. And you're seeking the yeses. You know what I mean? The people that believe in you, people that can help you or offer you, whatever the yes is. You always start seeking out the yeses. And for her, it's just been a lot of consistent yeses. And we haven't gotten a lot of no's. And I'm excited. I mean, really am excited to be, to see where that's going to go. We got some plans. So yeah.